Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and as you can see, we have a big group today. So it's a special video. We're going to talk about 5 things you should know before you do your first ayahuasca experience. And I'm here with Candice and Christian and Ryan Cropper. And below, I'm going to leave links to all of YouTube channels and are phenomenal. So I'm going to leave links to all their channels. But we're going to go ahead and get into it right now because it's been a long week and we're all probably kind of hungry. We just got done with yoga, so we're going to bust this out, okay? So, number 1, and real quickly before I get into this, I do know that some people, they get surprised when I talk about ayahuasca, but the channel I do is primarily about just the self-development, the self-discovery process. And in all of my years being so entrenched in this major theme, I've been continually blown away at the speed and effectiveness of ayahuasca, which is why I feel very guided and compelled to speak about it. So if you watch my channel and this doesn't resonate, that's okay. There are other ways to accomplish the same end, but I do know just from talking to many of my fans that a lot of people, they resonate with this. So I'm very happy and I'm honored to have these guests to kind of share their wisdom because I'm sort of a newbie at this. Okay, I digress. Number 1, it's very important to have an intention. And I learned this just the other night because one of the things I realized is that my first 5 or 6 experiences were very challenging, very abrasive, you could say. And I realized, I thought that was just how it was. I thought well, this is just how it is. But you talk to other people and you see there's such a diversity in experiences. And I realized that it was like that for me because I expected it to be. So these past couple evenings I've intended to have the same effectiveness, the same result, the same healing, but not in such a crazy ass way. And consequently, it was so much, I was like, oh, I realized I was creating this chaos for myself because I had kind of a weak intention. So what I learned recently is that the ayahuasca will honor your intention. So I know there's a broad topic, so I'm gonna shut up and let these guys share.
So for me, intention is played such a huge part in everything that I do, not just ayahuasca ceremonies, but life in general. I find that when you set pure intention in your mind, that becomes a frequency, which becomes an energy, and which ripples out into your world. And so that everything that you're asking for comes back to you. So it's so important to be super clear on what you want in all of life. But especially here at Rhythmia, we have 3 set intentions when you're going into the ceremony space, and that is show me who I've become, merge me back with my soul at all costs, and heal my heart. And when you go in with these intentions, the medicine will meet you where you're at. So you have these intentions, but when you're ready to receive them, she will meet you there. If she thinks she's got other things to heal beforehand, she will do that. But as long as you're going in with a pure intention, she'll meet you there as soon as you're ready. And that's played such a huge role in every single journey that I've done and beyond the ayahuasca ceremony space.
And intention is very key to have, but without any expectations, because expectations are what can fall short. So have the intention, but leave all expectations with Mother Ayahuasca. Don't expect anything.
Yeah, real quick. We were talking about that earlier. That's been a huge thing for me because a lot of people, I think, they think in terms of this or that. Do you have an intention or do you let go? Mm-hmm. And I found a lot of people went into the experience with completely like a leaf in the wind, and then their experience seemed confusing to them. At the same time, I found for me, if I go in with too burly of an intention, then it's that I'm not allowing all the many different lessons that she could teach me as a spin-off to this because I'm so focused. So I found the same thing. It's like this subtle dance. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I like the analogy you used, the leaf in the wind. But with me, I needed to gain clarity on my intentions. I wasn't the type of person to have intentions, written out really quickly. I would have to really sit there and think about them, and unfortunately, I had to think about them whilst I was here. Sometimes I'd only come up with an intention on the second ceremony. But, I guess the only advice I would give to you all about that is just sit there and really think about what your intentions are, not just analytically, but from a soul perspective, from an emotional perspective, and think about what you're missing in life. Think about, the questions you usually ask yourself as you go in and out of your days, and try and squeeze those into some form of language to write out a nice intention for yourself, because a lot of people, they have these questions on their mind, or at least at the back of their mind, for days and weeks and even months, in my case years. And it's funny because my ordinary awareness would have one intention that was in plain English, and yet my heart would have another one which was kind of disorientated. It wasn't really refined that much until I really sat with it and felt within myself, and then I was able to put that into some kind of English, some kind of sentence. And I got that today. Well, not today, but during the last ceremony. Whereas the first time I came here, that same intention was kind of in the background of my psyche, and that's what I really came here to fix, to really solve through the ayahuasca. Only I kind of sidelined it because I wasn't clear on my intentions overall, and I ended up going through all of the ceremonies without fixing it, or realizing things to do with that intention. And so this time around, it came out, and I discovered some things about myself, and that was because I just gave myself the time to really think with my whole being instead of my head. But yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's been a theme for me in my life, just in general, having not only an intention, but like a pure intention, like a really heart-centered intention, and that those always seem to work well.
Also, I just want to say with other plant medicines, like back in the day before I knew about the whole ceremony and the shamanism side of things, I never went in with intention. It was just to get stoned or just to get off my face, and so it would make for a very messy journey. And so now, knowing how powerful intention is, if I'm doing any kind of psychedelic, but especially in most part I only do ayahuasca now, it's the intention sets up the whole night. And especially if you're going in with pure love and just wanting to heal and be a better version of yourself, that's what will come to fruition. I found it just makes or breaks me whether I set the intention or not.
And on intention also, to have clear and precise intention as much as you can. The author Napoleon Hill talks about if you could conceive it, you can achieve it. And this is not just in ceremony, but in life, to have that intention and then make it specific and then move towards it with no expectations, leave the results with the higher power.
Yeah, excellent. I totally agree. Yeah. Cool. So the number 2 we wrote down is sort of like a blanket term. I wrote down cleansing, but that implies the obvious. There's a lot of different, depending on where you go, will depend on like what they recommend, but it's going to be a cleaner, more pure diet to kind of detoxify your body. But also more so just like with the content you allow into your consciousness. I know, as an example, a little while ago I went to a different ceremony, and this one guy I was talking with, he had been there the night before, and I was like, oh, how was it, dude? And he's like, well, I rushed there after work, and I was stressed out. It was like a Friday, so he got there, and he said the whole ceremony was wasted on kind of like aligning him, because he came in so scattered and ungrounded, and again, sort of like locked into the day-to-day hustle. And then the next night was good for him, but he didn't prepare himself mentally, just emotionally. He didn't really come in still and quiet. So that's generally kind of what we're discussing, and I'll let these guys go a bit deeper.
So definitely mind, body, soul cleansing. Whatever you can do to, like you said, clear the mind and just be very present in the moment and know what your intention is and why you are there. And for me, cleansing of the body vessel played such a big part. My first 5 ceremonies, I was so scared about shitting myself and everything that I literally juice fasted for the week, done colon cleanses, and literally the first 5, I was so connected, so open, everything was so vibrant and colorful. And then as I got into the medicine more, I kind of got a bit laxed, and was having salt things and oil and like just things that you're not meant to be having on La Dieta. And I noticed the difference in my visions and the clarity of my journeys. So definitely body cleansing and following the strict La Dieta. That's no sex, no stimulants, no coffee, no chocolate, things that are going to stimulate your system and not allow the medicine to go in and work her magic in the most profound way that she's designed to do. And staying away from certain meats and fats and salts and spices, just to have the body in a super, super cleansed state.
Excellent. Yeah, and it goes hand in hand, just like bodybuilders prepare to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And so the preparation before you go into an ayahuasca ceremony is very key. like Candice said, about aligning yourself with your thoughts, with your emotions, staying centered, just like before you go into a workout, or you practice a lot before the big game. An ayahuasca ceremony is really going into yourself and doing work on yourself, more in the mind, not in the physical realm, like working out. So the preparation is very key in diet, in what you're allowing into your mind, what you're reading, everything. So
Yeah.
it's very key.
Especially with your mind, I'd advise turning off your phone. Don't contact anyone outside of Rhythmia or whatever ceremony you're in, because they will or can ruin your day with one message, and it will shift you. And so turn off your phone. If you're in a relationship, let them know that, hey, I'm not going to be speaking to you for like a certain period of time. They shouldn't have a problem with that if they really understand. And that's really in your hands when it comes to letting go of your mobile device.
Yeah, it's funny because 2 or 3 nights ago, I got into a slight argument with my wife beforehand, and I sent her a text. I'm like, this is bullshit. You shouldn't have laid this on me. I have a ceremony. Now I can't clear my head. And she felt bad. We've been married for 10 years, so it's not the big deal. But one little thing can kind of play on your mind. And as we were talking earlier, like you said, it brings you up to such a high frequency that you can very quickly spin off into like other directions if your mind is, again, you can't control your thoughts, essentially.
If you're not centered.
If you're not centered, yeah.
Right.
Controlling your thoughts is a difficult task, but yeah, if you're not centered, essentially, yeah. Cool. Number 3, and this has been the whole theme for me this week, is so important to let go. And it's so hard to let go because it's this accelerated confrontation with aspects of yourself that at some time in your life you've suppressed for reasons of obvious. It's pain and traumas we've gone through. It's difficult to not clench up in the presence of them, and yet the experience it can be so smooth, much smoother if you can allow yourself to kind of yield. So what I do, and I notice a lot of people in the ceremony, they're all like clenched up and kind of in fetal position. I lay back. I get into the posture and of complete surrender. And at least for me, it's helped quite a bit.
It's so true. Your physiology is key because there's lots of people hunched over and keeping the trauma, the pain, the fear, and keeping themselves in that state, depending on where their body's at. And like you said, lay back, surrender, and just trust. I tell people all the time, she's a mother energy. She loves you. So she's either going to give you tough love and spank you on your body, or she is going to give you soft love and hug you. But it's all rooted in love. So if you're going into a ceremony trusting and knowing and surrendering to a mother who loves you unconditionally and just wants you to be a better version of yourself, then there's absolutely nothing to fear, and it allows for the letting go process to be much smoother and easier. And obviously focusing on your breath is key throughout this whole letting go stage.
And it's an interesting dichotomy. It's a balance between wanting something and then letting go of expectations. So all we need is intention. And this, not just in the ayahuasca journeys, but this is directly related to life as well. You have intention towards something, but then you completely let go of all expectations. And it's easier said than done, but it is possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't judge the situation if I was any of you guys. Because if you judge the situation, then you're basically saying that it should be a certain way, and that if it's not happening, then it's going wrong. And so that won't let you really relax into the experience so much, because maybe something terrifying is happening or something kind of nerve-wracking, kind of a little bit scary, and you're judging it. And so because you're judging it, you're probably saying that something bad is happening and this shouldn't be happening, and so you won't be so willing to give yourself to the medicine if what you're saying in your head is this is a bad experience. But the thing is you won't know how what you're experiencing is actually tying into your journey until probably the end or in between the experience that you'll be experiencing.
Yeah, one thing I noticed in talking to a lot of the people, some people, they get caught up in these loops where I'm just in this situation and it's negative and dark and I can't bust out of it. And and earlier in my ceremonies that would happen more so, but I realized that I just have to accept it. a lot of times something's coming up and we're pushing, so it's just like at this like stasis instead of just letting go and allowing it to kind of come up. Then you can kind of see what it's trying to show you. And what I've learned is what I think Candice said is like I've discovered, you know, it was hard for me to trust in the beginning because I was like, what is this? This, you know, it's a new experience for me. But what I've learned is that the ayahuasca is everything it does is for your own good. Even if it's some kind of scary idea or some kind of past memory or some kind of, you know, uncomfortable sort of scenery it's presenting to you, it's for my best good. I know that, so I'm patient, I allow it, I have that trust, and then I don't get caught in these loops. It's like more of a, like one scene after the other, and I can get a lot done in a short time.
And I always say to let go of, like, give the mind a night off and tap into the heart.
Yeah.
And usually by focusing on things that you love and joy, and focusing on a child, a pure innocent child, or a kitten or a puppy that you love unconditionally, to get you back into the heart, because the protective personality, the ego, wants to run the show and, you know, feel the fear and like try and protect you, but unnecessarily causing you more pain and more suffering, when if you just tapped into the heart, it would make the letting go process a lot easier, especially with breath.
Yeah, because we like to judge things so often. This is good, this is bad, but it just is. You know, like when people are purging, a lot of people are scared to purge, and they'll be in their bucket like, oh, this is a bad thing that I'm purging.
Right.
But we're looking at them like, this is amazing, you're healing, good job.
Yeah.
It's perspective. Everything is perspective.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. It's like I found that like I'm happy to purge because every time I do, I feel lighter. Instantly, I feel better, and a lot of times I'll have insight into what I was purging, and it's like, yeah, thank God, I'm very happy to part with that.
Yeah,
you know,
get that shit out.
And it's very uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
When you're in resistance, I mean physically, and you can become more nauseated if you're in resistance. It's kind of like the ayahuasca wants you to purge, and it gets what you're doing. It gets the fact that you're running away from it, so it will probably switch it up a little bit to make you purge faster. And if you just gave into it, you know, it would have been over in like a few seconds.
Yeah.
As opposed to 20 to 30 minutes of struggling.
Right. It's so amazing how all this advice applies to life in general as well, you know. And number 4, this can all be difficult, what we're saying, if you're not in a safe or what you perceive to be a safe place. It's so cool, but I get to interact with quite a few different shamans now in my life and where I live and even here. And some of them I talk to, they explain to me that because they were so passionate about it, they've taken the medicine in shady places that they didn't feel safe. And I've never experienced that, but I know it'd be very difficult for me to let go if I did not feel safe with people who I could sense really know what they're doing. Like I had this one time where a little while ago where I took the medicine and it all kicked in for me at once, almost like at the very end of ceremony, and I was like freaking out because it was so strong and so random. I was resisting, so I was like, I shouldn't be feeling this. And finally I had to raise my hand, and one of the shamans came over, and they didn't really say that much. They were just like, you're good, just chill out, bro, you know, lay back. And what calmed me down was the fact that I could tell they were not even slightly concerned. I felt safe because I could sense their expertise. So that energy of their wisdom and experience allowed me to like be comfortable. But if I called the shaman over and they're like, oh shit, I don't know what to do with this guy, that could have been terrifying for me. So for me, I think that's very important that you find a place you feel safe.
Yeah, definitely. The worst experiences I've had on any psychedelics have in most part been because of the setting and not feeling safe whatsoever. Like my first mushroom experience was in Amsterdam, and I took some truffles and nothing was happening, so I just kept eating more. But I was in the street with people I didn't know, and then we went into a sex museum, and then it all got weird from there, and I was like, it was just so trippy and was not the right, I had no intention, everything was just not in alignment. And then with ayahuasca, I drank in the jungle, and there was a huge language barrier. I knew no Spanish, and I thought I was sincerely, truly dying, physically dying. And because there was a language barrier, they were helping me to look for things that I was looking for, and so they weren't supporting my journey in the right way because they didn't understand what I was going through and I didn't understand what they were going through. So that's why I always say, find somewhere that you feel extremely safe and that has a whole program like Rhythmia, what we offer. It's just all encompassed to make you feel safe, especially for first-time drinkers. It's super, super important.
Terrence McKenna all talks about the set and setting so much, and the set and setting is not just where you are outward, but where you are internally. So like what we were talking about, health and what we're bringing into our mind before this journeys, then during the journeys, just make sure you're in a good place. And that's what we offer at Rhythmia, is just this safe, contained space to just do the work on yourself.
Yeah, it's an amazing place for a first timer, especially.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I remember before I came the first time, you know, I was looking on the internet, and you have some people who are like, "Oh my God, I saw Jesus and I felt healed," and other people said it's dangerous, the worst thing in the world, and everything in between. So I came in with all these like nerves, like I didn't know what the hell to think. But when I came in, just going through the process, by the end of the morning before the first session, during their coaching thing they did, I was like, yes, I felt pumped up. I felt like super excited for what was previously labeled as this scary and formidable experience. They got me jazzed up. So, yeah.
Yeah, we really hold the hands through the whole process, pampering everybody.
Yeah, big time.
It's a
Yeah.
good place to
Big
begin.
love bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I felt very inspired to take it. After my first try, I wanted to go home. I didn't want to do it. And then I went to one of the talks, and it just changed my attitude towards the whole thing. Not only that, but the last time I was here, I got used to kind of analyzing people on the first day to see how they are on plant medicine, because some people, they move around quite a bit, some people, they purge a lot, you know. And so what I tend to do when I come to these places is I'd sit there and I'd watch the environment, I'd watch the people, and I'd see who's the most, you know, active on plant medicine. And then the next day, I'll just move myself accordingly. I'll go somewhere else. Maybe I spent, I think, 3 days next to you because you were very calm and collected. He barely moved. and Aaron Dougherty, is that how you say his last name?
Dowdy.
Dowdy.
Everyone says it wrong.
I
That's
was
okay.
saying Dowdy.
Dowdy. He was very good too. He would get up and he would look at me and then kind of do that and walk away, and he would do that over and over and over again. So I would analyze people's patterns, and that would make me feel more safe because I could kind of predict the outcome of the environment later on within the week.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the people you're next to can make a big difference if you have a choice in the matter, for sure. Yeah.
Just like in life.
Yeah. Yep. And the last one's going to seem a little bit abstract, but it's definitely something I found to be the case, and that is the ceremony begins once you decide. The ceremony begins before the actual ceremony. It's going to sound wild, but what I've found for me is that my own life and spiritual development and growth has become intertwined with my ayahuasca sessions, and that a lot of my life will kind of set me up for various lessons and learning that will tie in beautifully with the ayahuasca. Did that make sense the way I said that? Okay, I was like, okay, what did you just say? Okay, you guys can share some clarification as well, hopefully.
Yeah. So the medicine doesn't reproduce, she recruits. And so you'll get a calling. You might just start hearing the word ayahuasca, or you'll meet shamans. Just things will start happening. And then once you receive that calling and you accept, you just know that things just start getting different. The medicine just starts weaving her magic before you actually drink her, because we naturally have her in us. She's all around us. She's just given us a more condensed version of herself in this brew, but she's connecting with us. As soon as we get that calling and we accept it, you'll just start noticing things that start to unfold. So we have lots of people that are like, oh, we can't afford it, we can't get there. But because they've made the decision and they're so set, it just starts unfolding. There was a lady who really genuinely could not afford it, and then she just set the intention, I'm going to go to Rhythmia. And then a check turned up in her front door from a job that she'd done years ago. It just turned up. So it's just things like that can start happening. It's like law of attraction, massive action equals creation. It just is a beautiful thing to witness.
Absolutely. And when you're leading up to deciding to come or deciding to do ayahuasca, you'll have different dreams. I know for me, before I came, I had dreams of an angel or a woman, and And then it was leading up to the ayahuasca. So when I first did ayahuasca, that womanly spirit, that feminine spirit came to me and said, I was what you were praying to. And then after the ayahuasca journeys, you'll still feel this the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're meant to be here, then you're gonna be here. Because the thing is most people, they assume that one place only takes credit or debit card, you know? They don't realize that maybe they have other options, you know, to use your talents, for example, to come here, rather than you having to spend the full amount. And some people can even come here and make money.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many options available, which most people don't really pay attention to because they have an idea in their head that it's only one type of way. And so I think the majority of people are actually capable of coming here. It's just a matter of them having to pick up the phone and ask the right questions.
Make it happen.
You know, and yeah, make it happen.
Yeah, and it's such a worthwhile investment. Like, it can seem like not a concrete result, but most people watching this channel understand that their life experience is a direct reflection of who they are inside. And doing the medicine, it like will improve who you are inside dramatically, extremely quickly, in profound ways that will eventually ripple out. So it's like, for me, like I have kids and stuff, so it's a lot. And my wife does it too, to like get away, basically take a whole weekend to doing it, or a whole week when I'm here. But it's such a worthwhile investment that it's, yeah, I basically said the point already, so yeah. Anyways, I think that's about it. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add in general? You don't have to, but anything that's popping up for you? No, that's okay. We don't have to.
No, it's good. I like what you're saying about the self-improvement, because whoever's watching this obviously wants to improve themselves.
Yes.
Whether it's physically, with food, but this being here and doing the medicine, it really improves your mind. And there's no scientist that could explain it, but it's really magical what happens.
It
You
really
get to
is.
learn about yourself, be brutally honest with yourself, and come back a better version of yourself.
Yes, yes.
And it's literally the perfect prescription made by the universe for you. It's not like going to a doctor's office and having a 10-minute appointment and just being given a prescription and, you know, whatever is, you know, on the agenda that day. This is the perfect prescription made by a divine energy for you and you alone. And nobody else can have your prescription, and everybody else's journeys is different. So you have to come here with this deepest faith of knowing that it's a mother energy who loves you with the perfect prescription for you, and life will never be the same again. You will leave a stronger, more evolved, more awakened version of yourself who can handle everything and anything that life throws at you. I promise. It's just the only way is up after drinking medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well said.
Thank you guys so much, Candice, Christian, Ryan. It was truly an honor to have them on here, because a lot of people, they watch me, Victor, but there's so many people with such wisdom and such amazing perspective that are much different than mine. And I think this was it came out to be a very solid video, because we had 4 really just wise people, especially me. No, just kidding. No. All these awesome perspectives, man. I really feel like happy. I just flagged them down last minute. You know, Ryan, he was upstairs and I was downstairs. He's got to leave soon. So it all worked out for us to kind of come together and share this message. So I just feel very grateful that we were able to do that. Again, I'm going to leave links to all of their YouTube channels. They're badasses. Check them out. It's down below. And I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Peace.